Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of A Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara with Living Foods Farm. Yay! First video with me saying the farm name. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're confused, go back to the last video where I announced our new farm name, which is Living Foods Farm. So today I'm in the high tunnel and I've already been busy working. I thought I'd turn the camera on and chat with you guys and let you know what I'm doing. I feel like I've been doing a lot of the same content, so I don't turn on the camera every time that I'm in the tunnel these days, just because I'm doing the same thing over and over. I'm starting seeds, I'm up potting. I'm starting seeds, I'm up potting. But today I'm up potting tomatoes for the first time. So I thought I would walk you through the process and how it's just a little bit different than up potting some of the other plants. But also, y'all, it's cold outside. It is warm in the greenhouse. It's like 77 degrees, but it's 38 degrees outside. So there's like a 40-degree swing in the high tunnel. But let me show you what I'm doing. So these here are the first of the tomato seedlings that I did. And as you can see, they're growing, but they are very, very leggy. Let me take one of these trays out. They're very, very leggy, as you can see, which it can be typical for tomato plants. But I have a lot of good germination. As you can see, I have like 3 or 4 in each one. So I'm up potting. I've already started here. You can see these trays. These here, it's gone from this to this. And one of the things with tomato plants is that you can plant them pretty deeply. And so that's what I wanted to talk about. So let me show you an example. So here is one. And I'm not going to plant all of these, like the ones that germinated like 3 or 4 in one pot. It feels like a waste, but I just don't have the time or the pots or the space. I'm thankful for the germination, but I'm not going to be able to do each and every last one of these. But you can see how that one is. So we're going to put it in some dirt. And when I say plant it deeply, like you can plant it pretty deeply. So I'm going to plant it like all the way up to like here. And the reason why you can do that with tomato plants is because it's going to grow roots all along like this fibrous part. It's going to grow roots all along there. So let me get some dirt. And I will show you. What's the weather like where y'all are? I'm kind of over it, you know, tired of the cold weather. Like last night I had to cover my onions because it got 22 degrees last night. So you can kind of see, and this is very similar to when you remember when I had leggy seedlings before, and I showed you about planting them deeper and how it worked. So very same thing with the tomatoes. You can go really deep. So you can see I pretty much have it all the way up. I'm gonna add a little bit more soil. All the way up to the top, basically, is what I have. So that's that. So that's what I'm doing. I got to do this whole tray of 72, and it's really this whole tray of 72, and it's really 72 plus. It's really 72 plus because a lot of them germinated more than one time. So I'm going to keep doing this, and then the next thing that we're going to do is I'm actually planting more seeds today. So we are officially about 4 weeks away from our last estimated frost date. So I'm going to show you what we're planting. You remember I did a schedule. For those that are brand new to me, I'm in zone 7A. I'm in Tennessee. And so my last frost date is April the 20th. And so we're right 4 weeks away. And so I'm going to show you what we're planting 4 weeks before the frost date. So it's a lot of herbs, a lot of flowers. I did a big thing of herbs a few days ago that I didn't have the camera on. So I did 4 or 5 different kinds of basil, and I don't even remember. Y'all, in my house, there's just seeds everywhere. I'm sure you guys can relate. But today we're going to be doing a lot of our flowers. We're going to do a bunch of marigolds, and if we have time, we're going to do some celosia as well. And then what else? I'm looking because I already have my little labels. And we're going to do some aster. So we're now branching off into the flowers. We've done a lot of our vegetables. Now it's like flowers and vegetables that only take like a couple of weeks. We'll do those in a couple of weeks, not at the 4-week mark. At the 4-week mark, it's a lot of flowers. So I'm going to time lapse this and I'll come pop back in and show you kind of how things are going. Okay, y'all. I feel like it's moving slow because it does. So I wanted to pop on and just talk about the importance and why you up pot. Because it's one of those things that is probably one of my least favorite things to do, if I'm being honest. And we can be honest here, right? It's one of my least favorite things to do, but just because it's so tedious, it takes forever, especially when you're growing at scale, right? Ideally, this probably would have been good if I had, getting dirt all over me, soil blocker system. And what I mean by that, like you can do the soil blocking, which I've showed you many times before, but you can get like the little mini blocks and then go up to another bigger size soil block and then another bigger soil block. But I don't have that system, so to speak. I just have one soil blocker. But that may be something that I may look into investing in for next year. Because at least with that system, you can just, first of all, it's not a lot of pots. So you don't have to worry about running out of pots, which, if you can believe it, I'm about to run out of these 2.5-inch pots. I didn't calculate that right. Clearly. But if you have the soil blocker system, then you can just go from one soil block to the next and it just gets bigger and bigger. And it saves you on pots and it'll save you on space as well. But I don't have that, so I can't do that. But yeah, it's just tedious. So let's talk about the reason why you up pot. So like for tomatoes and my peppers, those are the only two, and maybe my eggplant, that I am up potting. And so that just means I'm moving up to a bigger size pot. Those are the only ones that I'm really gonna up pot, just because if I were to keep them in this little bitty tray here for the next 4 weeks, it's not going to do well. It's not going to have enough space for the roots to grow. It's going to start to yellow. It's not going to be fertilized as much. Like, it's just not, it's not ideal. Like, it can't go from this little bitty tray and grow all the way out to the field. So I'm up potting it, putting in a bigger pot so it'll have space to grow. And I'll up pot one more time into the 5.5-inch pots if they grow relatively fast, and I need to do that before they're able, especially the ones that are going to go outside. The ones that's going to go in the tunnel, I might be able to take them from here to the tunnel, depending on how the temperatures are over the next, I would say, 3 weeks or so. Like when the last frost date comes, of course, I look at the 10-day forecast. So on April the 20th, I don't plan on planting outside yet. I'll probably wait till like the first week of May. But in the tunnel, fingers crossed, hopefully I should be able to plant, especially if the temperatures are going to be pretty decent at night, where they can go in the ground. And if that's the case, I may be able to get away with these going from this pot to the field. But if not, I'll plant them into those 5.5-inch pots that I've showed you before, those big blue pots that I have. I'll do that. Other plants that I have, you know, like what else have I up potted? I've up potted everything from these trays that I started, you know, 2 to 4 weeks ago. It needs to be up potted, and we've already up potted, you know, some of those. But the like lavender, basil, and all that, like, it'll be fine. It didn't have to go into a big 5.5-inch pot. And then of course, some of these, the closer I get to the last frost date, they'll be able to stay in these and go straight from here to the field. But like the tomatoes and peppers, they need time. They need their roots to grow, all of that good stuff. I also wanted to show you this. This is a good example because I didn't know this before too. You see this part right there where it's like the leaves are fused together? you want to take that off so that it can continue to grow. A trick is you can just wet your finger, or, you know, with your spit if you want to, or just wet it with some water and then just rub your hands across it. It'll come right off. But you want to take that off when you see those so they can kind of fully develop. And so like here, you see I have 2 seeds germinated. I'm going to pinch this one off because this is the stronger one, the one that's more developed. I'm going to keep that one. Then I'll just throw this one away. Versus on some other ones, I got like a pile over here of other ones that's germinated that we'll see if I have the space to do it. If I have the space to pot it up. Because these pots, again, when you're growing on a large scale, these pots take up space. It is not the practical way to do it by no stretch of the imagination, because I can only fit 32 in a 10-20 tray. And so there's 72 in here. So that means I'm going to have 2.5 trays just for this one tray of 72. So whereas this one tray was taking up space, now that same tray is going to take up 2.5 trays. That's a lot of space, y'all, that I don't have. That's why I need a seed starting tunnel. I need a traditional greenhouse. Yeah. For the longest, I didn't know the difference between a tunnel and a greenhouse, and I was calling this a greenhouse. And I mean, and people know what you mean when you say greenhouse, but in a traditional sense, the greenhouse is where, you know, people can start seeds, or they'll call it like a propagation tunnel, where you're starting your seeds, or you may have plants and flowers in there. Versus in a high tunnel, I mean, it's kind of what the name says, it's a very, very high tunnel, versus a traditional greenhouse does not have these high walls and things like that. Okay, so that was just one variety that I just up potted. That was a beefsteak tomato, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 16. I have 17 of those out of 12 plants. So I got 5 extra, and I really have more extra. Look at all these if I wanted to, but I'm gonna stop here because 17 is plenty. But y'all, I hate throwing it. I hate throwing away. But y'all, I just don't. I don't have the space. I'm not gonna be able to do it. Okay, so the next tomato we have is Cherokee Purple, and all of these germinated. Yeah, I have something in every one. I have multiples. So this is the Cherokee Purple tomato. So we're gonna up pot this next. So let's, if I didn't say this before, like look at you can see the roots and stuff. You can see that there. I love these trays. Love, love, love. And I didn't water them yesterday because I knew that I was going to up pot them, so I wanted them to stay dry because it's easier to handle when it doesn't have all the moisture in it. It's easier to handle. So I only did 6 Cherokee Purples because I love Cherokee Purples. I love the taste and the flavor. What I don't like is I have never had any pretty ones. The bugs, the insects, because it is an heirloom variety and not a hybrid, it's not disease resistant in my area. At least I've never had. Like, they never come out pretty. They come out mostly edible. Last year they were mostly edible, but they're just not pretty. So it's probably nothing that I would sell because it's not going to have the appearance, but it's just something that I can slice and eat on a sandwich. And they taste good. Have like a smoky flavor. Oh, here's my little tag so I can remember what's what. Yeah, they have like a smoky flavor, but again, that's the difference between heirlooms and hybrids. The hybrids, again, are bred. So you can see like a lot of we call them seed caps. You can see that right there, that part right there. You want to just take it off because I don't want to put my hands in my mouth because they've been in dirt. Then I just kind of rolled it around, and you can see it came off just like that. But that allows it to open up. Okay, so yeah. But let me know if you grow Cherokee purples and if you have the same issue with it not looking pretty, like disease, cracks, all of that. And if you know about the cracks, let me know about that too. I am glad that it feels good in the tunnel. When the sun starts beaming down, I feel too hot, but like now the sun is kind of like passed over to that one side, and it feels really good out here. It's like a nice cool. I cracked the window, or the door, not the window. I cracked the door just so I could get a gentle breeze, and so that feels really pleasant. Really pleasant. Man, I just hate to discard all of these. And I wonder if I could make some soil blocks and stick these in there. I wonder. What do y'all think? You think I can? Huh. I got a whole stack. Like, this whole stack is beefsteak right there. These are 2 Cherokee purples. I probably need to keep them separate if I'm gonna think that I'm gonna do that. Oh, decisions. And again, you know, if I'm thinking about money, this is probably like pennies on the dollar. It's just the fact that in my mind, it's like food, right? I feel like I'm throwing away food because the seeds germinated multiples, and I'm like picking the best out of the bunch and throwing the rest away. It just feels weird. Am I the only one that's like that? I just need to let it go, okay? I'm telling myself I just need to let it go and stop talking about it. And just do what you're gonna do because you only have the space you have. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna keep popping, doing this, and y'all, do y'all see that? It's like I've done nothing. Sigh. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so I got the rosemary planted. So I just put it in this pot here. You can see that. We'll water it in and we'll see if it's gonna grow. Then I'm gonna use this pot for the eucalyptus. I bought these pots from IKEA last year. To kind of just help when I was doing the up potting, because I ran out of those blue big ones from Bootstrap Farming that you can see back there. And so I had bought these. They were like really cheap. And so I don't know, I may have, do I have 10? Maybe 5, I don't know. Anyway, but it works for something like this. Let me try. And I don't remember what kind of eucalyptus this is. It's there, it's not growing a whole lot, and maybe that's because it needs more space. So let's see if we up pot it, what that will do. The roots are very fragile. Very fragile. Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work, y'all. Look at that. Do you see that? It's like really fragile. Well, might as well try it. What's the worst that can happen? It don't grow. Well, if I throw it away, it's not gonna grow either. So, we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. This, I don't know. Like this looks completely different. So I don't know what this is. If I put 2 different kinds of eucalyptus seeds, or this is how it grows. I'm not sure. We're gonna put one of these in here and let's just see what happens. Look at this. It already came out. Okay. It's very thin. Very, very thin. But okay, we're just gonna see what happens. And the rest of it, I'm not gonna even worry about. Okay, so the next on our agenda is we're gonna plant our flower seeds. So let me get that. Y'all, can y'all believe I'm out of pots? Like literally. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this mess. Do y'all see how my pots are all like that? Do you see that? I just found one because I just emptied. But this is like the, yikes. This is like the insert tray. This is my last one of these. And literally, I just found it when I transplanted out those collards. And this stack right here, let me show you. Y'all see this stack right here? This stack, that stack. That's all the 2.5 inch pots I have left. That's not gonna be enough. Oh, y'all. Remember I did the video at the beginning of the year talking about being organized, starting our seeds and getting our supplies. On my list, I had pots, but I did not have 2.5 inch pots because I didn't even think and count that I probably was not gonna have enough. So I gotta go either get me some more pots or come up with a different game plan. And this is my last insert. So the reason why the insert is important is because if not, your stuff gonna be looking janky all like this and falling over and leaning. So the inserts kind of provided some support. So now I gotta transfer, because I am gonna use this last insert. I'm gonna transfer this to this. Makes it much easier and much more sturdy. And yes, this is from Bootstrap Farmer. I like 99% of what they make. It used to be 100%, but I got some trays the other day, some 6 cell trays. I don't like those. I don't like those at all. Now look, you see how that looks? Okay. Let me, okay, this is getting heavy. Let me move all that out the way. Okay. Now, let me set these back up. Now, you see how better that is? Provides much more support. So, yeah, I got these to fill up, and I probably got enough for maybe 1 more tray and a half, but I don't have any inserts. I have looked everywhere in my tunnel. I don't have any inserts. So, okay, what we're gonna do now, we're gonna plant our flower seeds. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so on the flowers, what we're doing today is we're doing our marigolds, and we're doing some asters, and we're doing some Rebecca, which is like the black-eyed Susans. So for marigolds, I'm doing the white swan, which is a hybrid. I don't have a picture of that one. I'm also doing the Kilimanjaro white, which I loved last year. I'm not a huge fan of marigolds in terms of the way they look. They have a purpose in the garden. They're great to plant with your tomatoes. They're great to plant with your squash. It helps with insects, pollinators, and all that. But in terms of those like yellow marigolds that you get at Home Depot, I bought tons of those. I don't like them. I bought them for their function. I don't like the way they look, but these are beautiful. So Kilimanjaro white, and I'm gonna do orange Hawaii. And what else? I may do some of these, which is burning embers. We'll see. And then for asters, I'm doing like a salmon and a custom mix. So aster, this is what it looks like. I think that's pretty. That salmon color I think can go with a lot of things. I think it can go with pinks, yellows, whites, obviously. So I think that's going to be a nice neutral flower. I've never grown it before. And then there's a custom mix that I'm doing as well. And then on the Rebecca, I'm doing a Sahara Rebecca, which looks like this, which I think is really, 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 really pretty. I can't wait to see that. And if you're new here, I love flowers. I love flowers just as much as I love growing vegetables. So I'm going to go ahead. I've already like pre-moistened the soil. I'm going to go ahead and drop these in here, and then we're going to be done. Okay, y'all, we're done. We're gonna call it done. So, I got all of my flowers that were supposed to be planted today done. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different kinds of marigolds, 2 kinds of aster, and then 1 Sahara Rebecca. So that's 72 flowers, seeds started. And then 2 days ago I did basil and nasturtiums. I did a Tip Top Alaskan salmon nasturtium, so I think that'll be good with the salmon aster. And then I did like a mixed nasturtium. Again, I'm not a big nasturtium fan. They are edible. I don't plan on trying it or eating it because I heard it's kind of spicy. I'm not a big fan of nasturtium, but it's great for the garden. And then I did like several kinds of basil. I did African basil. I did something called Elydia basil. I did a lemon basil. I did a Genovese basil. I did cardinal basil. And then I did sweet Thai. So I did a lot of basil and herbs. That was one of the things as I took notes from last summer, the things that I wanted to do different. I wanted to grow more marigolds and more basil. Basil also is great for the garden. It's a great interplanter with tomatoes. And I ended up buying more basil in the store. So again, those are the things, if I can start it from seed and not have to buy it, that's more money that I'm saving. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today. We were able to up pot at least a tray of tomatoes, a tray and a half. We got our flower seeds started according to our schedule at the 4-week mark, 4 weeks before frost date, and then we transplanted some stuff out and amended one of the beds. I think I'm gonna try to up pot some more of these tomatoes that'll fill up this tray that's halfway empty, and then that's gonna be it for today. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Remember, this is all a journey. If you haven't up potted your stuff, and especially for tomatoes and peppers, hopefully this gave you some encouragement to go ahead and get that done. It's not sexy work. It's not exhilarating work. It's just work that has to be done. It's all part of it. It's part of the journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.